movement. So welcome if you're a TTRPG veteran. If you're just a curious educator, maybe you've never played a tabletop role-playing game before, but you're interested in new ways of engaging your students or teaching and learning. Tabletop RPGs are having a moment culturally. They're becoming sort of ascendant. It's entered the common parlance of people. And there's a number of different reasons, and we're not gonna, analyze it to death, but it might be something like the pandemic really pushed people to engage with tabletop RPGs with interest in D&D has risen by 85% since the pandemic.
62% of TTRPG players participate in weekly sessions. I
I
think
mean,
that's
I was
really
surprised by that stat. TTRPGs have a steep learning curve. And so unlike, picking up a video game or downloading an album or something, it requires quite a lot of learning and growth. Yes. You feel like you matter. There's a relevancy, right? All of a sudden, TTRPGs may be, a real transformative experience or activity that could really bring them back in to engage with schooling and learning. Education wasn't preparation for life or a career, but education is life itself. Welcome to the movement, in what I think of as a disruptive in a good way development in critical and progressive pedagogy. It's to sort of define what are tabletop RPGs and understand them as a unique analog, social, and flexible learning tool. They tell stories, static stories. Games manipulate agency, so they invite participants in to make different choices, make a series of different choices that have meaning. They're not just static story, but they're participatory storytelling where participants shape that world in real time. And he described it as artworks of agency that let us explore alternative modes of reasoning, collaboration, and identity.
super hard to coordinate a field trip to kill the dragon.
Yeah, right, exactly. Or to go to space and or
Yeah.
play with a super collider or ride a rocket ship or all these amazing or the Miss Frizzle stuff of go down to the size of an ant and explore, things that we could never do in the real world. So this is an interesting little framework. I won't dwell here too long, but this is sort of comparing tabletop RPGs to video games and books is going to be much more helpful for them in terms of learning how to sort through complexity if the work is all done for them on an automated system or a digital platform, they don't really have a chance to appreciate how to manipulate, how to understand that system and how to interface with that system. It's highly social, much more social than most video games are, particularly like having to have kids or people sit around a table for hours at a time. And the game master, as facilitator, allows you to kind of scaffold and respond to students and player choices in real time. Deliberative decision making.
School is already a crappy game, and it's true.
That's your quote. Yeah, that
That's
could.
my quote.
Yes.
Right? School is already a crappy game. It's we already have points and leaderboards and competition.
One of the key ideas here is play, and so that play. This is sort of the thing that happens often with gamification is that we lose the actual fun. It's sort of like dopamine tunnels, right? It's a psychology of like keeping people engaged without actually inviting them into play in a deeper way. Even still today, people are like, "Well, we don't have time for this silliness. We just want to strip all the extra stuff down and get it down to what's the most efficient way to cram learning into my students so we can
Right.
do better on the tests."
And so just because something's a game and there's an inherent attraction doesn't mean everyone's going to be good at it right away. And that's another thing that people will sometimes say is, well, what if they don't want to do it? Like, well, they don't want to take tests either, but here we are.
Yeah,
Right. And so
right.
I might be forced to go through the motions because I'm in this class, but actually jumping in and becoming part of the pretend world, the fictional world of the game, is definitely voluntary. And it's really, really satisfying when you see kids who at first are worried to do that because that's not a thing that happens to them in a middle school setting.